If you were the scapegoat child growing up, there are certain ways that shows up in adulthood that most people don't realize are connected, and a lot of people don't even realize that they were the scapegoat child. They just notice patterns in themselves that feel confusing. Like, why do I always feel like I'm in trouble? Why do I overthink everything people say to me? Why do I feel like I need to explain myself all the time? So, I want to break this down in a more real, practical way. These are some of the most common ways the scapegoat child shows up as an adult. And as I go through them, I want you to notice what feels familiar. Not just logically, but in your body too. Because this isn't just a mindset, it's nervous system patterns. 1. You over-explain everything, even when nobody asked you to. This is one of the biggest signs. You don't just answer questions, you defend your answers, you add extra context, extra reasons, extra justification, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. For example, let's say you're at work, your boss says, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" And instantly your mind starts running. Did I do something wrong? Was my work not good enough? Was I too slow today? Did I miss something? Are they about to tell me I'm in trouble? Even if nothing is wrong, your body reacts like something is wrong. And then when the conversation happens, you're already in explain mode. You start over justifying things before you even know what the issue is. Because growing up, being misunderstood came with consequences. So now your nervous system tries to prevent misunderstanding before it happens. 2. You automatically assume something is your fault. This one is so automatic for scapegoat children. Something feels off in a room, and your first thought is it me? Someone is quiet, someone's tone changes, someone seems irritated, and your mind immediately starts scanning. What did I do? When did I mess up? How do I fix this? Even when there's zero evidence that you caused anything. For example, you send a message at work and someone replies short. And instead of thinking they're busy, your brain goes, "Oh no, they're annoyed at me. Maybe I shouldn't have sent that. I probably said something wrong." And then you start replaying the exchange. You start replaying everything you said. And this is what happens as a child. When you were blamed or made responsible for emotional tension in the home, your brain learned to take responsibility for everything because that used to feel safer than being wrong. 3. You feel responsible for other people's emotions, and this one runs really deep. 2. You automatically assume everything is your fault. This one is so automatic for scapegoat children. Something feels off in a room, and your first thought is it me? Someone is quiet, someone's tone changes, someone seems irritated, and your mind immediately starts scanning. What did I do? When did I mess up? How do I fix this? Even when there's zero evidence that you caused anything. For example, you send a message at work and someone replies short, and instead of thinking they're busy, your brain goes, "Oh no, they're annoyed at me. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have sent that message. I probably said something wrong." And then you start replaying everything you said. And this is what happens when, as a child, you are often blamed or made responsible for emotional tension in the home. Your brain learned to take responsibility for everything because that used to feel safer than being wrong. 3. You feel responsible for other people's emotions, and this one runs really deep. If someone is upset or stressed, quiet or irritated, you feel like it's your job to fix it, even if it has nothing to do with you. So in adulthood, it looks like you're constantly checking how other people feel. You're adjusting yourself so that nobody gets uncomfortable, trying to make the mood okay again. For example, if you're in a conversation with, let's say, a friend or a partner and the energy shifts slightly, most people would notice and move on. But for you, the scapegoat child, it becomes, "Did I say something wrong? Should I change how I'm speaking? Let me fix this before it gets worse." And this can be exhausting because you're managing emotional environments that were never your responsibility to begin with. But as a child, that's what you had to do to stay safe. 4, you struggle to trust your own perception. This one is subtle, but it's very, very important. You often second guess yourself. Even simple decisions feel like, did I interpret that correctly? Am I overreacting? Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Because growing up, your emotional reality may have been dismissed or flipped back onto you. So now, as an adult, even when your instincts are correct, you doubt them. You might feel something is off with a person, but immediately you override it with logic. You say, no, I'm probably imagining it. And that creates a pattern where you disconnect from your own internal signals. 5, you either avoid conflict completely or you freeze when it happens. This is the nervous system response most people don't talk about enough. Conflict doesn't feel like a normal conversation for you. It feels like danger. So you either shut down, go quiet, you agree quickly, or you completely freeze and you can't think of what to say. And then later, after the moment has passed, everything comes back to you. You think of all the things that you wish you had said. But in the moment, your system goes offline. That's not weakness. That's a freeze response from past conditioning. Now, if you're hearing all of this and you're thinking, this is too accurate, I want you to slow down for a second. Because the important thing to understand is this: these aren't personality traits, these are survival strategies that made sense in your environment growing up. But they can start running your adult life if you don't become aware of them. And that's exactly why I created my free guide, because most people don't need more insight. They need help catching these patterns in real time when they're actually happening. The guide shows you how to notice when you're about to over explain, people please, or abandon yourself in the moment. And it teaches you how to pause before you react on autopilot. It's in the description below. And if your experience is more intense, like you completely freeze in conversations, your mind goes blank and you can't speak up even when you want to, that's called the freeze response. And I've been there too, so that's why I created the freeze response recovery kit. It gives you actual scripts you can use in those exact moments so you're not stuck replaying everything in your head afterwards. That's also linked below in the description. I want to end with this. If you see yourself in this, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It means you adapted to something that required you to be hyper aware, hyper responsible, and emotionally alert. But now you get to slowly unlearn what no longer belongs in your adult life. If this resonated with you, you're not alone in this. If you want more content like this, you can subscribe because I go deeper into these patterns and how they show up in real relationships. And I want to ask you something. Which of these felt the most familiar for you? Or what did this make you realize about yourself? I read the comments and they help me to know what to go into on a deeper level next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Till then, take care.